You are recording.
Antigens come into your body.
Okay.
Antigens are detected by APCs, who devour them. What are APCs? What are some APCs? Dendritic cells, all right. So dendritic cells, macrophages,
B cells.
and B cells. There you go.
Okay.
And B cells, all right. So an APC eats the bad guy,
Okay.
and then displays the epitope of the bad guy. Because remember, bad guys are identifiable by their epitopes. Chickenpox has one epitope. Measles has a different epitope. Mumps has a different epitope. So, the antigens have epitopes. The APC eats the antigen and then displays the epitope on its MHC2.
Okay.
Then a T helper cell comes by and they co-stimulate each other. The T helper cell recognizes that it's a bad guy, all right? And then the T helper cell is the one that mobilizes the immune system. The T helper cell then, on this side, it's going to activate a CD8 cell, which cluster of differentiation number 8.
So it's T
And so that's going to then cause a creation of T memory cells who will remember that we've been invaded by this antigen. So if we ever get invaded again, they immediately spring into action. And then it also causes the formation of cytotoxic T cells. Cytotoxic T cells will go and kill bad guys. And how do cytotoxic T cells know who to kill? What do they look
From
for?
the antigen presenting cell displaying it.
No.
on-
Cytotoxic T's, what do they inspect? No.
The stem of the.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Oh, when the B cell tag goes down?
Oh, they do the two.
The tag.
Every cell in your body has a certain kind of cell surface marker on it called an MHC1. And if the cells in your body are normal cells, then they display normal things on the MHC1. But if the cells are diseased, like cancer or infected by viruses, then they display an abnormal thing on their MHC1. And so the cytotoxic T cell goes around through your body inspecting cells. All right? So it would come up to you and say, yes, let's see, normal protein. All right, fine. Normal protein, normal protein, normal protein. Oh my God, abnormal protein!
All your computers here.
Deja vu. Okay, so that's how the cytotoxic T cells know. That's how they kill people. And they're going to kill people then who basically have been infected by this antigen. Okay? This antigen infects cells, cytotoxic T cells are going to kill them. All right? So what branch of the immune system is this over here?
Cellular.
This is the cellular. Now, sometimes on people's exams, when I ask for the two branches of the specific immune, some people put T cells and B cells. I'm not going to count that right. Why am I not going to count that right?
Because it's cellular.
T helper cells are involved in both cellular and they're involved in humoral. Exactly right. So T cells are involved in both sides. And not only that, but remember, an APC could be a B cell. So therefore, this could be a B cell that's ultimately causing this to happen. So that's why T cells and B cells don't get it. It's either cellular or it's humoral. Okay?
Where's the separation between the two? Is it?
Cellular is cytotoxic T cells and T memory cells. Humoral is the B cells doing over here. But notice that, they both involved originally T cells and B cells. So that's why I'm not going to, when I ask for the two branches of the specific immune system, cellular, humoral, okay? Did somebody ask me a question, where's the difference?
Like, where does it divide? But I guess it just would.
It's just, right, we're going to call this side humoral, and we're going to call this side cellular, and then the problem is these are part of both.
Yeah.
And we have both B cells and T cells that are part of both. See, that's why I won't take B cell or T cell as an answer, because B cells and T cells are ultimately part of both. They stimulate both sides, okay? So here then, the T helper cell can also co-stimulate a B cell, all right? And remember, the B cell has receptors, and what are these receptors for? This particular antigen,
Yeah.
right? This particular antigen is the one that this B cell has a receptor for. So in other words, this B cell could have been the original APC, all right? It could have been, because remember, B cells can be APCs. So this B cell then has receptors for this specific antigen. And once it gets co-stimulated by the helper T cell, then this B cell then clones itself, all right? This is cloning going on here. The CD8 cell clones itself into 2 lines of cells, and this B cell likewise is going to clone itself into 2 lines of cells. It's going to make more B cells like itself. Because remember, these guys are really useful. They're APCs. They can go out there and grab antigens and digest them and all that kind of stuff, all right? And then it's going to make B memory cells, so it'll remember that we've been invaded. And then it's also going to make clones that are plasma cells. And plasma cells crank out antibodies, which are exactly the same as the receptor on the original B cell. And the antibodies bind to the antigens. All right, so there can be antigens floating around in your body. Let me get rid of that for a second. So there will be antigens floating around in your body, right? And what can happen is the antibodies will come and bind the antigens. See? So, antibodies can come and grab a hold of the antigens. Now, they don't actually kill the antigens. What do?
They hold on to them until...
Handcuff them. Handcuff them. And then, once they're handcuffed, all kinds of really good things can happen. They can precipitate out of solution. They can agglutinate and clot, basically. And then, who can come by? Somebody will recognize the stem of the antibody. And when they come by, anybody who's got a stem of an antibody on them, they're going to kill. Natural killer cells. Complement will get them. So all kinds of people. All kinds of people can get them. All right. So once they've been... eosinophils can get them. Eosinophils look for the stems of the antibodies. So once the antibody grabs an antigen, that's good. It's been tagged. They're going to get it. All right? I don't have any more to say. What else do you guys want to know?
So both of these occur simultaneously in your body?
Exactly right. In other words, every time you're invaded by an antigen, it's going to stimulate both things to happen simultaneously. Okay. Both humoral and cellular are both going to jump into action. Because they're both like 2 different strategies for how to work, you know. Have a bunch of people out there tagging, have a bunch of people out there doing the actual killing.
So when do the MHC1s come into play?
That's for the cytotoxic T cell, who's going to inspect your MHC1s and see whether or not you've got a normal protein.
Okay.
If you do, they'll let you go. If
and
you
if
don't,
they'll kill you.
What about MHC2s?
MHC2s are only on APCs.
Oh, okay.
And MHC2s are what T helper cells respond to.
Okay.
They inspect the MHC2, and if it's the antigen that they know, then they stimulate both humoral and cellular response.
So the MHC1 is just on cells that have been infected that haven't gotten recognized yet by anything?
MHC1s are on every cell in your body.
Every cell in your body.
Every cell in
That
your
are
body.
infected. Or not.
They're not.
Or not.
They're on every cell in your body.
Yeah.
Right.
Except for
And
APC.
so if a cell is not infected, then it
You don't
displays
kill
a
it.
normal protein on the
Okay.
MHC1. If a cell is infected, it puts an abnormal protein
Okay.
on the MHC1.
Okay.
But they're not on red blood cells, right?
I don't know. Maybe not. There are a handful of cells that don't have MHC1s. So, but most cells have MHC1s. Most cells, and that's how. I don't know. That's good. I don't know. But anyway, that's the way cytotoxic T is. Most cells in your body have an MHC1. They're just going to go around inspecting MHC1s. If you're fine, they'll let you go. If you're not,
Okay. That helps
What else?
a lot.
For the B cell, I thought they only divided into memory and plasma. So when you put
no. B cells also clone themselves.
Also,
B cells also clone many, many more of their original self.
So they make more memory.
Is that...
They make all 3 of these. Once a B cell has been co-stimulated by a T helper cell, it makes all 3 of these.
Okay.
Plasma cells and B memory cells and more B cells just like itself.
What's the
Because
difference?
remember, these are so handy. These are
Because they can
APCs.
handcuff up to 10 people.
What?
They can handcuff up to 10 people, right?
No, that's an IgM.
Oh, IgM.
That's an IgM.
Okay.
Can handcuff up
Okay,
to 10
so
people.
then the MAG doesn't come out until the plasma cells make the antibodies? That's
There
when MAG
are different
comes?
kinds of So MAG is the different kinds of antibodies that can exist.
Yeah.
IgMs, IgAs,
So they're just
IgDs,
floating all over the place
IgGs,
after the
IgGs.
plasma makes them.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay.
And remember, there are different.
There's different things.
In the first response, you're making mostly M's, IgMs.
IgMs.
In the memory response, you're making mostly IgGs. And
And
so
then the
on.
second response is IgGs as well?
Second response is mostly IgGs.
Okay.
First response is mostly IgMs. All right.
And then IgAs is the milk and the
IgAs is
secretions.
milk, mom,
and-
yeah.
Okay.
IgDs are actually the receptors on the B cells.
IgDs,
That's
receptors
right.
on
And
B
IgEs
cells.
are on the mast cells and the eosinophils. Alex. what do you
So the B cells make
Okay.
the Igs, right? The
Yeah, they do.
But they're not immunoglobulins, not B cells, right? So
No, right. Immunoglobulins and gamma globulins and antibodies are antibodies. They're not B cells.
They're not
B cells have receptors that are the same as the antibodies. Okay.
But IgDs are receptors on B cells.
Yes, they are. That's correct. That's correct.
What's the difference between a B memory and a T memory?
One's a B and the other one's a T.
Oh, okay. But they do the same thing then. Okay.
I think the B cells,
it's just basically
when
each
it comes
side.
again, then they clone again and make antibodies right away, right? And then the T cells just know to kill right away. The TM. I don't know.
TM is
Maybe.
Can I show you guys something? This is what helped me understand it like perfectly. Have you guys ever heard of conjugate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.